Good afternoon, garden friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. It's almost the end of the day. It's after 3 o'clock. I've been so busy today. This is the first chance I've had to pick up the camera. But I did get a lot of stuff done. So what I'm doing right now, and I only have a short time to do this because we have some doctor's appointments to go to this afternoon, is I'm going to change out the irrigation here, the mainline tubing, in the home garden so that I can bring these valves to the farm and use them there and start rigging up the irrigation for these beds. So let me show you what I mean by all that. So this upper part, actually the entire garden, is on two separate zones. This part up here, just the raised beds and the pollinator patch, is on one zone, and that is, I think we called it veggie garden or something like that. So this is all in one zone. And then we have the other zone is called cut flower garden, because that's what it used to be, a cut flower garden. And it is the fence line with the blackberries, the blueberries. It is this whole bed here and everything down here. Now, currently nothing in here is irrigated because I took apart all of the drip irrigation because we had drip tape on here, and this was when the garden was configured completely differently. We had 4 rows for growing row crops, and I'm not doing it that way anymore, obviously, so I need to rig up new irrigation. So I'm going to reuse all of these valves. These are for drip tape. I'm going to reuse all of these at the farm. I need 12 of them. I've got more of them than that here, but we'll pull these off. Doing that means that I'll have to replace this, because even though I could put what they call goof plugs in all of these holes, that's kind of foolish because you'll get more leaks that way. So I'm going to replace this tubing that runs from here. It goes off in this direction so that I could water this whole bed. And then it goes this direction where it used to water all the other beds. But I'll need to rig water down the fence line for the trees and for these U-shaped beds here. These beds, the raised beds, are going to be watered with the Oyas. So I'm not going to put irrigation in those. Now, the soil is pretty damp because it's been raining for a long time. But we are going into about 6 days of dry weather and actually high winds starting this evening, and they're starting to come in now, up to 45 miles an hour. That's going to dry the soil out pretty rapidly. So I want to make sure I get irrigation started in here. What I'll do is get as far as I can today. I only have about 40 minutes to do that. And then I can come out and finish that part up tomorrow morning, take the pieces that I need out to the farm and work on the irrigation out there. So I think the plan's going to work just fine. Once I get all the irrigation done here and at the farm, then I can start working on transplanting, because I do have a lot of seedlings that are ready to go in the ground. Not as many in the vegetable garden right now, but definitely out at the farm. So I want to show you how things are going in the veggie garden for now. Pretty good, actually. So the mustard that I planted in the fall, it looks beautiful. It's doing great. I put in that's a chamomile. And then we've got our artichokes here. They're looking good. The stuff under all of these cloches is actually the squashes that I direct sowed. I don't know that they'll germinate anytime soon, but I do have seedlings of squashes that are looking great in the greenhouse that can come out pretty soon. These cabbages are finally looking good. I pulled off all the slug material, damaged material, and they're looking great. These are red acre cabbages. I don't know that they'll head up, but I'm okay with that because there's other stuff going to go in here pretty soon. And then we've got a little bit of broccoli left after the chickens picked it over. Another gorgeous mustard. Now this area is getting ready in the next 2 weeks to be seeded with corn. Different varieties of corn that all germinate at different times. They won't cross-pollinate that way. We've got some bok choy and tatsoi in here. And then over here, we've got peas on the trellis, which have germinated. And even though there's been some damage from birds, for the most part, they're looking pretty good. And then I put some spinach in the front here And that's also looking okay, considering. We're still getting cold temperatures at night, but things are looking good. And then underneath these cloches is radish. There's all radishes out through this bed, a couple rows of them. The beets that we sowed have germinated, so they're here. Celery, still looking great. And then these are elderberries. They have leafed out. So like I said, there's also some lettuces under here. This is collards and I think another red cabbage maybe? I don't remember what that is. Doesn't matter. So our fruit trees, except for this is a jujube, this won't leaf out for quite a while. And the blackberries haven't started putting on a lot of growth yet. But the fruit trees have flowered. And I really hope that they've been pollinated because I bet these winds are going to blow all of these flowers right off the trees. That's what often happens here in the springtime. This one looks like it's going to be fine because most of its flowers are fading. So nothing in this bed yet, but it does have, I have designs for it. I have a couple plats of alyssum here. That's going to go in. Definitely need to put a lot of alyssum out here. It's a great trap crop and it smells amazing too. So again, under these cloches, lots of squashes. They haven't germinated yet. And then we've got a couple rows of radishes that are looking really good. And finally, we've got some carrot germination and some turnip germination, but you can see birds have been, you can tell it's birds because they tear it. So, we'll see what happens. It's not gonna break my heart if I don't get carrots. I already have plans for this bed for summer, so we'll see how it goes for the spring. This Merlot lettuce, still looking really good. And the taters are starting to come up. So you might be wondering why I put lettuce, or why I planted potatoes near the lettuce. Well, the lettuce will be harvested long before the potato greenery is really taking over. So it's a good way to interplant. So yeah, all the potatoes are starting to come up, or at least that variety, which is Sephra. Oh yeah, and this one too. That's Prince of Orange. Yeah, and these too. So the potatoes are all starting to sprout. And look at this new apple tree. Oh, and this makes me so happy. We have a bee friend right on that flower. Yes, visiting all the flowers. It's interesting too because this apple tree is a 4-in-1. We just planted it in the fall, and the 4 varieties have low chill hours, which is what I need here in Zone 9B. Also, they pollinate each other, but these 2 varieties have leafed out and flowered. These 2 haven't yet, so that's interesting. The other thing I wanted to show you is the peonies are starting to come up. So this entire bed has peonies in it, and they come up as the daffodils are fading, which I love. There are also peonies down this fence line. I don't know how many survived the winter because we didn't have that cold of a winter. Okay, I'm going to try to get as much done as I can here with this irrigation. It shouldn't take that long, at least to get the main line tubing going. It's not that hard of a job. The only tricky thing might be getting this T intersection to work. I bought another piece to use for that, but I don't know if that's going to work because all they had at the store was 5/8 inch tubing, which is what I use normally, and they only had 1/2 inch T intersection connectors. So it might work, but it may not, and I might have to go to make it work, I might have to go get the butane torch from the farm and heat it up in order to cram it in there. So if that doesn't work today, that's okay. I'll just crimp off the end so that if it runs overnight, I'll have to check the schedule, but that way it won't just flood. All right, I'm going to get started. Okay, so slight change of plans. I was going to go ahead and start installing the drip tubing. This is 1/4-inch tubing. You can see it's got a blue stripe on it, but it's got emitters every 6 inches. So this will run wiggle waggle through the beds to do an even distribution of water when the irrigation's on. But my punch, the punch that you need to use to connect it to the mainline tubing with a little connector. So here's the connector. The drip tubing goes here. The other end, you use a punch. It's like an awl. You punch a hole in the mainline tubing that I just laid down, and this goes in that end. But that punch is at the farm. So instead of completing the irrigation here, we'll complete the irrigation tomorrow at the farm first, then bring that punch tool back here and complete this irrigation job. There's no major rush on either, but you know, I would like to get it done and be able to mark it off my list. But the mainline tubing is run. So basically I'm good to go to just run the small 1/4-inch tubing out and place it where I want it in the garden. That won't take that long. I've got plenty of staples. So that tubing, you know, you staple it down with earth staples, and then it pretty much stays where you put it. So yeah, I mean, I feel good that I got that part done. Now I know there won't be any weird leaks or anything like that when the irrigation runs, because it does run in the veggie beds right now. Because we do have those dry stretches, I want to make sure everything that's in there gets watered. So I will come back to you tomorrow, and we'll just make this all one video. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of short. So I'll see you tomorrow out of the farm. We'll check and see if I've caught more gophers, and then we'll get working on the irrigation. Holy cow, you guys. I hope you can hear me. When they said it was going to be windy today, I thought windy. We're getting gusts of over 50 miles an hour. I just spent the last hour reattaching the landscape fabric with hundreds of more staples. This keeps blowing away, the silage tarp. It's got like 40 bricks on it. The reason I'm worried about it is that it blew against the fence and was trying to make its way under the fence, which means other animals could get in, so that's worrisome. And then of course back here, where I hadn't yet stapled down the fabric, it's just gone. Thankfully, it's still inside the enclosure. I'm going to take it up, roll it up, and put a lot of weight on it out here for now because I don't want winds picking it up and taking it over the fence. But yeah, you can see where it's just completely removed it. So I was gonna lay irrigation today. I'm gonna start with the mainline tubing, connecting it across the top of the beds here. But I don't know how far I'll get because trying to roll out this stuff in this high wind, yeah, we'll see how that's gonna go. So I'll set up the camera, but I imagine that the camera is gonna get blown over multiple times. So we'll just see how it goes. That's what I mean when I say we have high winds right now. I don't even know if you can hear me, even though I have my microphone really close. All right, I need to start trying to roll this stuff up because, like I said, I don't want it to go airborne and get outside the fence or do any damage to what's already in here if it blows down that way. So I'll set you guys up probably on the ground because, you know, the lower you go, the less windy it is. So yeah, hopefully there'll be video worth using. Okay, I'm calling it. I rolled up the fabric over there and kept noticing that the silage tarp kept getting pushed under the fence, and that's damaging the fence. So I was like, well, I'll just drag the silage tarp out and cover this whole area that's going to be pollinator bed and dahlia bed and all that kind of stuff. So I did that. But anybody who's ever tried to work with the silage tarp knows that if it's windy, it's a nightmare, and doing it by yourself is even harder. But I did it. That's my workout for the day, you guys. It is weighted down with, I took T-posts and rolled them into the fabric so that they really kind of hold down all the corners. There are bags of cement on here and bricks. And so, I don't know, fingers crossed, it doesn't blow away. But I'm exhausted. That was a lot of work and a lot of effort. I'm really dirty too. So I think what I'm gonna do is go home and eat and then work on some projects at home, because this is just too challenging. And it would be very hard to lay the drip tape because it's lightweight. It would just fly around everywhere, and I think I would just get so frustrated. So yeah, it's another day. I can come out tomorrow. It's gonna be windy tomorrow too, but it's supposed to be slacking off as the day goes on. Thanks for hanging out with me over 2 days of failed irrigation. At least I'll remember to bring my punch home so I can actually work on the irrigation at home today. Yeah, that'll just be a part of another video. So, all right, guys, thank you. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.